Kevin will eat it. I mean, we'll see. They're choreographed. Be careful about the mage here. Well, it certainly worked with the mash out of stun. It doesn't do good damage because I'm not on the right build. You just start panic rolling though. This is more like BM. Yeah, the stun is not long enough. We should do a dex respec. I want to see this at max power. Yeah, I mean, you definitely need dex for that. That's for sure. Because, you know, we even had freaking Shard of Alexander too. It did like no damage, but it really only works if they attack out of its stun with something that's not that damaging. Let's see here. Okay, let's see. Trying to think here. If I two-hand the dagger, like, can I get like a big damage ash out of this in some way, shape, or form? Or am I gonna be limited by the base power of the dagger? I forgot if lightning ram damage changes based on like lightning affinity or not. Wow, this does less. This does less than Misericord. Interesting. Alright, we're gonna try that again, but with the dagger. There. Oh, whoa, camera! What the fuck? Yo! Oh, there's another guy. Holy shit, dude! Let's move out of there. Bro. Like, we were basically... The reason why we were stuck was this. This right there. I've never gotten stuck there before. I thought I was getting blocked by a third player. But yeah, that lightning ram just doesn't do enough, but it certainly is interesting. Actually, before we invade again, let's just set up something else. I think the thing here. Did you end up getting Cyberpunk? Yeah, I actually started my playthrough. I like everything about it, except the gameplay is kind of dog shit. Like, it has some of the worst fucking... like, shooting that I've seen in a while. It's basically, like, gimmick the game. Just a bunch of fucking gimmicks, like... everything I hate about modern gaming. Just low IQ Reddit developers just making mechanics, trying to be original when they don't know that what a straight mechanic should look like. I think, yeah, so far my experience with Cyberpunk embodies that. Like, it has amazing, like, characters, story so far, world, everything is nice, except gameplay's kinda just a bunch of gimmicks. Really? It makes me fat roll. You can't up your FOV? Maybe I should up my FOV. But from what you said, I'm guessing I'm gonna need a mod for that. Because you're right, the FOV did seem kind of pretty brutal. Any progress on moving away from Windows? I'm not planning on moving away from Windows anytime soon. Like, it's gonna be a thing in the future, like it would be completely stupid for me to switch from Windows to Linux right now, like, with all the setup I have. Or, like, when I get to rebuild, like, another PC at some point, like, I'll consider... like, if I get another PC, I'll consider, like, a Linux machine, but... switching would be completely stupid for me. Alright, buddy. I'm assuming I will need bull goat. Jericho, you can't just like swap operating system like on a whim like that. Like when you work on your PC, you have like a bunch of softwares. You can't just decide like overnight that, oh, okay, I'm just gonna switch. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, I saw the Pereira versus Ankalaev round. It was impressive. Like, if you watch a lot of fighters, you know, well, if you watch a lot of fights from a lot of different fighters, you'll see very often like the losing fighter, like after like round 2 or round 4, you know, when they're about to enter the last round and they're clearly like losing the fight. And basically it's all or nothing, right? And they're either like looking for a KO, a submission, something like that. And no matter what, they're never able to muster up that aggression that they need to like end the fight. Never. Like, it just never happens. And so all to say is, it's very easy to say like put the other guy on the back foot, you know, and be aggressive, like dictate the pace. But it's much easier said than done, and, you know, the last fight Pereira did that. He basically dictated the pace, and he was the aggressor from the very start. And so we can't forget that he was a world-class kickboxer for a reason, so maybe that's what it takes to do that. You know if dual boot is still a thing? Yo, genius. Yeah, dual boot is still a thing, but like what would I do with a dual boot Linux? Like what would I do on the Linux part of my machine? Do you know? I don't know. Like what would I do with that? Well, I think he's done. It's like, ultimately, the idea is that eventually I want to move away from Microsoft, because I don't like Microsoft, I don't like their policy, I don't like their CEO, I don't like anything that's related to Microsoft. It basically represents evil in all shapes and form. But unfortunately, we're kind of stuck with Microsoft, because they have the operating system that we all use. But now with SteamOS, for the first time, we're starting to see daylight in the OS space. And so, it might not be there yet, but I'd like to think that at some point, SteamOS is going to be big enough so that it's going to be adopted by a large audience that are also fed up with Microsoft, just like I am. But that time is not now. And right now, if you do critical work with your PC, and when I say critical work, I mean anything that has to do with your job, you can't afford to like just make a switch and hope that everything works out. Like, basic softwares don't even work with Linux, like Photoshop. Not to mention the fact that you'd have to relearn everything, because softwares are not all the same. Or not software, operating systems are not all the same. This guy took very little damage. This guy right there. one's lagging. I think we need to kill one, like, ASAP. Yeah, this Phantom is very, very tanky. God, these people suck so bad. That was the only, like, over-leveled Phantom. One of your courses you did last year for Cisco forced you to learn Linux. We'll make the switch eventually. Like, see, like, you know, you had a course about, you know, learning the ins and out of Linux last year. You still have not made the switch, which is perfectly normal, but, like, I'm technically in the same boat. Like, switching from one operating system to another is not as easy as just, like, randomly deciding to switch. Like, the amount of softwares I have installed on my machine, half of them won't even be compatible. And the other one, like, you want to take the time to reinstall everything? No, like, the time you have to switch that makes sense is when you build, like, let's say a new PC, or you decide, like, you want to do something else with another machine, and maybe you want to even leverage, like, Linux for something special. But the idea is that we want Linux to replace Windows, really, eventually. Microsoft stopped supporting Windows 10 this week. Oh, right, it's this week, right? I'm still on Windows 10 as well. Saved him. Maybe actually the use case for a dual boot Linux system will be to use the Linux part of your machine for internet browsing, because Microsoft won't support fucking Windows 10 anymore, and you use Windows 10 for everything offline. Maybe that's the key. Use the dual boot for fucking internet access and the other part just for work. That could actually be a use case now that I think about it. It definitely does slow workflow, though. Like, I'm just thinking, like, basic stuff, like, you know, editing vid and uploading them and, you know, scheduling stuff, that stuff. Wonder how much slower it is with a dual boot setup. Because you'd have to switch back and forth. I don't know if Sony Vegas, or not Sony Vegas, it used to be called Sony Vegas, Vegas. Bro, it's just running. No, running Windows on a virtual machine is just stupid, honestly. Even if you have a kick-ass machine like myself, like... You're basically, like, asking to get problems with certain software. Like, you're basically asking to waste your time, and you're losing a ton of performance doing that, too. It's good for people who just use their system for gaming and, like, basic stuff. Or if you want, like, you know, much better security for whatever you're doing, then that's understandable as well. Yeah, I understand Firekeeper, but I'm not a programmer, though. Like, Linux at the base is, like, an operating system that's really ideal for people that leverage programming. I'm not one of those. I use software, but I don't program. I actually don't know, like, is the stun on the club just a normal stun like every other weapon? If I always thought that it was like stun 2, but I don't think so. I'm not sure about that last bit of range there. The rock blocked me. It's funny because the more I look at it, the more I feel like the play for what I'm looking for out of a weapon, like something that like is fairly fast, keeps priority. The more I think about it, the more I actually like default to stuff like straight sword R2, like in my mind, because like a lot of time it's the R2s that have the good stun and keep priority, and when you think about like fast one attack R2s, there's not that many that fall in that category, and straight sword's actually one of them. So unironically, like, straight sword R2 being very good at something. And it, since you don't need to have your weapon two-handed, kind of frees up your offense slot for something, hopefully something that could do big damage. Now, I'm trying to figure out what could be a good off-end option for big damage with a straight sword R2. Or something that complements it well. What do you think about light greatsword? I mean, it's too vague of a question. It's a weapon in Elden Ring. It's a fun weapon. Doesn't take a lot of skill to use, but it's a fun weapon. I enjoy it. Catch Flame is something that I want to make a build around once we get Tarnished Edition. I want to make a dedicated Catch Flame build, because I feel like with the current state of the game where you lose priority for every fast attack, like to me, like it's been obvious since that patch came out that Catch Flame is like one of the best play that for some reason we still do not really see used to this day, and it's such an obvious choice for like a top pick for fast attack. Because think about it, you can't really block it because it's pure fire damage, so it will get through any guard with some decent chip. It comes out fast enough in succession so that there's no possible counter-attacking in between it. And then it's fast enough for roll catches as well with the running attack. And so really with Catch Flame by itself, you have a weapon that if it was in a weapon form, everyone would be using it. It's just that because it's a spell, like no one thinks about it. But it is like a super obvious choice, a standout in the current state of the game. But yes, I'm definitely gonna make a dedicated like Catch Flame build. Not sure if it's gonna be like pure Catch Flame or like pure Pyromancy, but I'm gonna have to figure out like what complements Catch Flame best. Is it like a halberd? Is it like a colossal of some sort, like some hyper armor weapon? I don't know. Ugh. Albert Catch Flame is fun as fuck. I mean, it's the obvious choice, you know. Albert, main hand, offhand, dagger, axe, trusting sword, Catch Flame. They all serve really the same purpose, except with a little different flavor for each one. But we know the setup works. It's just because Catch Flame is so much more complete as an offhand tool than all these other options. It's way more complete than trusting swords. Way more complete than hand axe, way more than dagger, because it stuns every single hit, keeps priority, and gives you access to running attack even in the offhand. So it's a very different deal than these other offhand tools. Like it makes it, like Catch Flame on its own is a complete weapon. So technically like what you want to leverage out of like another weapon that you pair with Catch Flame is not so much about the mix-up. It's more about something that gives you what Catch Flame does not have. So hyper armor is an example. Catch Flame does not have hyper armor. Range could be another one, so maybe you want the halberd because of the range. And then big damage is another one. Like, you can make a build where you can do good damage with Catch Flame, but you know, if you have, let's say, Freya Curved Greatsword with your Catch Flame, and you land a Flame Strike with the Freya, it's gonna dwarf your Catch Flame damage, because Freya Flame Strike does insanely good damage. So you have to weigh in, what do you want to get out of pairing whatever weapon with Catch Flame. Catch Flame Sleep Bolt Spread Crossbow. Now that's something that Catch Flame does not have. Unironically, that actually sounds pretty brutal. Because technically, like, you take care of the range, right? Take care of the range and you basically force your opponent to, like, come to you. And then you have Catch Flame to take care of everything from there. And if you can get a sleep, then you can probably get, you know, another spell that does insane damage off of that sleep, probably, even if it's not Catch Flame. Something with decent range that isn't too slow could work well. I mean, there's not that many choices. Like, when you think about it, it's like, you know, the first thing that come to your mind when it comes to something that has good range that's not too slow, it's like, it always comes down to, like, curved greatsword and halberd and these sort of weapon. Because you have, like, a decent running attack. And, you know, each one has their advantage. Like, curved greatsword is a little harder to like, strafe. Like, it has, like, better neutral R1. Whereas halberd, you know, has that little extra, like, early hit type attack. It's a little sleeker. Requires more skill, but little sleeker. But ultimately, they're both fairly similar for the purpose that they serve when you pair it with something fast. I think you can often land 3 catch flame from a sleep proc. Yeah, I mean, that depends. Pretty sure at some point you could. I don't know if it's still true anymore, but maybe you can. Because the thing is, catch flame always stuns now, so not quite sure you can land 3 hits anymore. Off-rack is kind of good. Not really, because if you want a good catch flame, you'd really have a dedicated Fate build. I mean, if you over-level, sure, go for it. Over-level, you can do anything. And before Tarnished nerfs catch flame before we work out a setup? Yeah. In typical FromSoft fashion. I feel like if you're gonna have offhand Rakshasa, like, it makes way more sense to have, like, you know, the typical setup that we've all seen, you know, Claws of Night. Because with Claws of Night, you get that big damage, fast attack, good chip, range attack. And then for your reliable attack, you have... And also, Claws of Night, like, do good against shields as well, which Rakshasa, like, doesn't. So you have, like, some good complement there as well. And they both fit on pure dex build, so it makes way more sense to pair Claws of Night with Rakshasa than to go Rakshasa Catch Flame. Catch Flame will always be cracked for PvP. Yeah, dude, in every fucking Souls game, you had, like, Combustion and Black Flame in Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 2 was still good. Dark Souls 3, you had the Parting Flame, Black Flame, that was also super good. It's like the Catch Flame type attack in every Souls game, it's always been good. But yeah, so far I think unironically, the best idea that came up was the crossbow with Catch Flame. Probably what's the most annoying to fight against, I think. Just saying it like that. The only thing is, technically, like, ideally you'd want to leverage Catch Flame being in the offhand, because you still get that running attack and crouch attack and jump attack, even if you have Catch Flame in the offhand. And so you can leverage like a full moveset in the main hand, while having Catch Flame being able to do the same thing in the offhand. And also, you still can go for backstabs, because if you have Catch Flame in the main hand, you cannot get backstabs. I'm actually thinking, like, I wonder if, like, straight sword with sword dance would not be like a really good weapon to pair with Catch Flame, or like a milady sword dance, like a straight sword dance or a milady sword dance, where you have access to, like with the straight sword, you have access to the running R2 and the R2, which can stun very strong hyper armor. Like for instance, if you're fighting against a great sword, you can go and like do straight sword R2 into the great sword and like stun the R1, and then you can start Catch Flame chain from there. Or if you're fighting, let's say, another fast weapon that could be maybe hard to approach, like let's say a trusting sword or a Shamshir, well, you can like initiate with your hyper armor with the sword dance, and then after that you can start the Catch Flame chain. So some interesting ideas there. Maybe like a fast sword dance could be something that pairs well with Catch Flame. And I say like straight sword and milady because the light great sword sword dance I think is the best sword dance, because it does very good damage. Maybe a katana could also do that, like a one-handed katana perhaps could be decent at doing the same thing as well. I don't really play much with one-handed katana. I think Cleve, you could chime in there. Like, what do you think about a one-handed katana and like using the R2s to always stun? Hate my input. I did not hear that. Very obnoxious. We're gonna reset, guys. We're gonna go to the camp and reset. Okay, we won't need to, I think. I'd like to commit to hitting this guy, but with the spell spam, we're gonna have to wait. That should not have landed. At least he does no damage. This guy does no damage, is fat rolling, and has no health. Like, where are his points? Like, this guy has nothing. His weapon doesn't do damage, his spells don't do damage, he doesn't have health, he doesn't have armor, and he's fat rolling. Where does this guy put his points? All in mind, bro. All in mind. Like, you know, like, I don't know about you guys, but I would find it challenging to make a build that bad that has, like, you know, like, I give you like 100 points to invest in your character. Try to make it so that it doesn't do damage, it's fat rolling with no like heavy gear, doesn't have armor, doesn't do damage. It's like you'd have to like think about it, and you'd end up just putting everything into mind. But it almost feels challenging to do what he did. You know, a build that is that bad is very impressive. That's what I'm trying to say. It's impressive. I think what the guy might have done is perhaps he decided to put all his points like equally distributed into like every different stat. Like equal distribution. I think he's inside. We're not gonna reach him from there. I think it's better to respawn. Yeah, whoever said they were at the start, you were correct. Not really sure where this guy went. Okay, he did go through. We see them. He did not roll. I don't even know what he was doing. Hunter Stong on trying to make friends? Yeah, probably. I actually ate my input there. I pivoted. Guy playing like an absolute scrub, switching to Pada and then running away. What music are we listening to? This is the Armored Core 6 soundtrack. But yeah, One-Handed Cat R2 is one of the best part of its kit. Plus Sword Dance, just as fast, bigger hitbox. Yeah, okay, so that could probably be actually like a good addition to the Catch Flame, maybe. Plus running R2 as well. Oh, that's right. It probably has the better running R2 out of the three because, you know, straight sword and katana running R2 is reliable. You know, Milady would be like good as well, but it's not like reliable. Like you can't just throw it out. Like it's not gonna poise break like high poise. So, like personally, I'd much rather have like a reliable attack. Maybe one-handed cat could be the play, like one-handed Nagakiba maybe. I'm thinking like Fate build, like Sacred Infusion Nagakiba with Catch Flame. Your first Dark Souls 3 build was Shield and One-Handed Ultra? You know what, Baby Turtle? Me too. I was like Zweihander with the starting Night Shield, dude. I was trying to make Zweihander work like so bad because it was my favorite weapon. Eventually, I went with Claymore. But Zweihander was always like my first dedicated weapon in Dark Souls 3. And it's funny because Corvian as well. Like I'd have Corvian as a soft swap. Like Corvian was always my go-to roll catcher, basically. Short sword is a bad weapon, dude. Long sword is better than short sword. And when I say long sword, that basically means like every straight sword is better than short sword. ER is 667. It's a big difference with two-handed straight sword, actually. Like, two-handed straight sword really doesn't have that much AR when you compare it to, like, other fast weapons that are, like, a standout in terms of damage. Like, you know, and the first thing that comes to your mind is, like, that 722 Warp Tax. Like, Warp Tax... What's cool with Warp Tax is even if the moveset is not the best, like, you know, the only thing that Warp Tax has really is that Axe R2s are good, and then the follow-up is decent enough to do some mix-up with. But really, the redeeming quality of that Warp Tax is the damage. Like, you have to respect the damage because it will win trades. That's what's really dangerous about Warp Tax. And you can use Warp Tax just purely to trade, even if you technically don't win the neutral. Whereas with two-handed straight sword, you have to outplay. You can't just damage trade. And in a game that really facilitates damage trading, very often, like, that Warp Tax is gonna do better just because of that. I think they're in the boss, right? Yeah, I think they are. We missed our chance, guys. He's not coming anymore. Well, that's GG. You just heard the sound effect too, like, and it was over. All these boss grab attack are basically one-shot. Especially if you're a PvEer with no defense or HP, that's for sure. I think a big part of why these PvEers struggle so much with the DLC is definitely partly because their build, even if they level up continuously, their builds are so bad. Get Kevin and his guardian. That range, dude. Got saved so bad. They really keep saving each other. Oh, we got some reinforcement. Oh, we don't. What? I missed? That's crazy. When are Steel and I going to do the DLC? I mean, I think we've talked about it at some point, but I think we decided that probably like after Tarnished Edition, when everyone remakes their build, now might be a good time for like a collab playthrough. But not, I think we talked about it, but I'm not like 100%. It's been a while. It's definitely going to be a lot harder than the base playthrough because PvE in the DLC is much stronger. Also, ideally, I think what we're going to do is like... Because like last time, what happened was, you know, it was a lot of fun. First day was very active, very popular. Second day was very, very dead, and it was like one too many. So if we can wrap it up in like one day, it would be ideal. So like basically, you do one area, and then let's say you do one area. You wait for 2 people to come in, you beat them, and then you just skip to the boss after that, even if other people invade in the meantime. You basically limit each area to like 2 invaders, and then you just keep on moving to new areas like that. You fight like 2 per area maybe, and then you move on to the next one. Otherwise, what will happen is like, because we're PvP focused players, we really only like focus on like beating the people that are in the world constantly. That makes it so progress just is very, very slow, because you get a constant wave of invaders, and every invader that comes in there is fresh on resources where, you know, for instance, they get their physic and we don't. And so like at some point you get withered down. It's like if, for instance, an invader like drains like 3 Estus out of you, well, you won't get 3 Estus back out of killing them. And so you have less Estus for the next fight. And if you fight basically tryhards only, which is basically what happened the first one, like you get withered down to a point where even if you're better than your opposition, you just have like much less resources than them at a certain point when you've gotten through a few waves. And then you get killed because you're simply out of healings. Especially for the Phantom. You know, the host can survive a little longer because they have more Estus, but the Phantom has as many Estus as the invaders, so the Phantom is in a precarious position. It's fine for the first wave, though, because the first wave, you know, you don't have friendly fire because you're with the host. But on the other hand, you have all the PvE to deal with. So the invaders can leverage some of that PvE to hide behind and reset, whereas we need to count on each other. So it depends on the map and it depends on the enemy, but very often it usually evens it out if there's PvE involved. If there's no PvE and it's just, you know, a 2v2 battle with no PvE involved, then obviously the advantage is to the host and the Phantom with the no friendly fire. But if there's some strong PvE, like I'm not talking about like, you know, like Limgrave enemy or anything like that, but let's say you're playing at Haligtree and there's some Haligtree knights, well, that's strong enough PvE to make a difference, for instance. The bane of all history's greatest warriors, supply logistics. That's actually so true. And no chainsaw? Yeah, no chainsaw to beat the bosses too. Yeah. I think Steel and I will probably both have like fingerprint. Either that or like it's gonna be like Ender Starfist the whole time. Or like Dueling Shield. You know, we might not have chainsaw, but Dueling Shield for a lot of bosses definitely feels like it. Maybe Steel and I, by the time that we do that, one of us is gonna learn how to do the new bow glitch, which doesn't seem very hard. And then we're just gonna bow glitch bosses for an even like easier outcome than chainsaw. The new bow glitch isn't too hard. I don't even know like what you have to do to do it. Like I've not looked it up. Personally, I actually don't really care about it all that much. Like, you know, you guys know I don't really care about Elden Ring really much anymore. So I don't really pay attention to like the new stuff that's coming out. I mean, I know it exists. I know it's there. I've seen like what's it called? Seriously Casual. I've seen his vid where he like two-hand his weapon and then does it. But I don't know like what's the input sequence requirement or any of that stuff. Apparently these kind of swaps are easier to do on PSN than PC because of input delay. That sounds like cope to me because usually everything is easier to do on PC, like whether it's backstabs, you know, roll catches, at least on, maybe not on vanilla PC actually, because I don't know like how it is on vanilla PC, but they have like so much fucking lag with people from the looks of it. Maybe a lot of it is harder there, but when you look at Seamless, it reminds me of Dark Souls 3 PC versus console. It was really night and day. Like, you know, in Dark Souls 3, punishing someone that's drinking an Estus with a backstab, that, for instance, was way easier to do on PC than PlayStation. Why was that? Well, it's very simple. Much less input delay on PC than PlayStation, so it just gave for like a bigger window really between the time that you were seeing the opportunity or wanting the opportunity and the execution. It was still possible on PlayStation, but it was tighter to perform. And, you know, I have not played this game on PC, but just from the look of it, it looks like getting backstabs is also easier on PC than PlayStation. Just like what it was in Dark Souls 3, so... Why does it take forever to invade? Because this game's kind of dead. Yeah, this game's activity died down quite a lot, honestly, over the last few months. Wow. Okay, we're gonna have some teammates here. Let's judge that range. I feel like I'm still lacking a bit of damage with this. I think we're gonna switch setup. I got what I wanted to know. Like, ultimately, I was playing with this because I wanted to know if I do R1 into Flame Strike instantly, if that was a roll catch, but it's not. So, I got what I wanted. I'm gonna try something else. Yo, Vil, how you doing, bro? Just cook some chicken pasta. That's a good dish, man. That's a good recovery dish. Especially if you're about to go like play some sport. I know, Vale, you mentioned some interest into getting back to playing hockey. Pretty sure you got a game in a few minutes, but it's a good dish before a game. PSGS, no Storm Assault. Storm Assault is definitely a good Ash to have on PSGS, but for Invasion, honestly, like, I've played enough Invasion with PSGS that, I mean, the obvious choice is most definitely VHS here. It's too dangerous to not have VHS when you're invading, because this is one of those, like, higher commitment weapon where your recovery is higher than, let's say, what we had for the Great Club earlier. Has the Floridian Hockey League. Vale, do you know that the last Stanley Cup champions are the Florida Panthers? Do you know that? DC? No, okay. Of course I did. You're a hockey player in Florida. You got me there. That was funny. Right now, like, I'm hesitating right now. I have another PSGS, or another, Great Lance. I don't. That's unfortunate. Wish I had, like, one more Great Lance. Because technically, I don't need Flame Strike in my offhand. I could just swap when I need it. I think what I'm going to do is change Flame Strike to... Yeah, no Mesmer without Bird Helm, exactly. I'm going to change this to Rusty... This. I'm going to change this one to Flame Strike. There you go. Or actually, maybe change it to Flame Strike. No, never mind. Flame Strike this, and then keep it like that. We can Bragger at the start, and then if we need Flame Strike, we can just swap instead. What do you think of Morgoth Cursed Sword? It's a very strong... Like, the Ash is very underrated. It's one of those Ash that's very... Like, you can't punish that Ash with every weapon, because it just has so much forward momentum, hyper armor, decent damage, and no recovery, that even with perfect spacing, it's not an Ash that you can always punish, so you can throw it out, like, very freely. Like, obviously, if you're fighting someone that has, like... what's it called? Like, let's say Beast Roar or Stormblade, something like that, then obviously you can't get punished if you, like, play really stupid. But for the most part, if you're, like, playing against, like, some of the lighter weapons, then you can throw it out very often and basically get a free chance at getting some damage every time you throw the Ash out there. I'm not particularly a fan of the weapon, though. I think it's a pretty brain-dead weapon. Yeah, also you do have to make a build around the weapon. That's very true. I think the Ash fully combos if they have high poise. That I don't really know, like, what are the conditions to combo. Yeah, CGS in general. Yeah, CGS is definitely not the most skillful weapon, that's for sure. Or most skillful weapon class. I definitely give you that. $35 deck is just not worth it for most, or else every other PvE build would have it. Yeah, that's actually so true. Yeah, you know, like, arcane builds have a very specific set of weapons that are, like, good on that build, and for the most part, they all require a different, like, optimal spec, like, to be able to really leverage them. Like, for instance, Like, you know, you compare that requires 35 dex, and then you take like Morgott, Great Spear, right? Like two different weapons, but they require like an arcane build, but one requires an arcane dex, the other one requires arcane strength. And then if you want to go like pure arcane, you get to use neither of them. You know what I mean? So if you choose to go one path, it's very limiting in your weapon choice, for sure. And I think there's more. Could be wrong on that. I think you got more choice when you go arcane strength than arcane dex. But I guess now that I think about it, like might be boring to say that, but I think what determines the best build is probably what is the best weapon that X or Y build can use, right? Like for instance, when you talk about a dex build, you're talking about like Rakshasa, Claw of Night, Back and Blade, you know? Those are like the first weapons that come to your mind for like the optimal weapons for like dex build. And like for Fate build, like sometimes you have overlap because, you know, like Back and Blade also pretty good on Fate. I don't know like what are the optimal weapons for Fate builds though. It's like Fate builds has pretty much the highest damage overall for like any weapon that you can infuse when you start like applying Fate buffs. With Fate buffs, you can reach like higher damage than other builds on Fate. So like you could use a lot of weapons on Fate and have them do optimal damage. And then when you're thinking about strength, well, you're thinking about like two-handed Great Lance or Mesmer two-handed with Flame Strike. Or you're thinking about, you know, TS, like Clean Rot, Golem Great Bow, Sword Lance, right? Like this is what like defines like the kit for strength builds. And then when you're talking about like magic builds, well, there's no going around Gravity Missile. That alone could arguably make it the strongest build. You know, in a dueling setting where you have a closed arena, might be the best attack in the game, you know? I'm not even exaggerating. Like, Gravity Missile is not something to be underestimated. Like, Gravity Missile is the sort of gimmick that in a lot of closed arena situation would require Endure as a counterplay. Heal from afar is not something that we count because, like, in a duel, there's no, like, there's no healing in duels. There's no, like, spell healing. Because if you do that, you're not in a duel anymore. The Bear Roar too? Yeah, Bear Roar, that's true for Fate build. Another, like, defining one. Catch Flame, actually, we were talking about it earlier. Catch Flame is super strong right now. Oh, also, we forgot about it. On Fate and Dex, you have, you know, the one-handed dagger shield, right? Like the... what's it called? The Wakizashi. That's another one. You know, can't forget about the Twin Blades. Like, all these builds have good Twin Blade damage. But perhaps the strongest one is the one on Fate, right? With the one that shoots a laser beam. You know, the unique one that buffs itself just by attacking. That one's pretty dangerous. The Euphoria. Yeah. Yeah, Euphoria is... You know... It's definitely something that I'm going to try once Tarnished Edition drops and we have like a Fate build. We are so going to try Euphoria because it is one of those, you know, I almost want to say sleeper weapon because even though like everyone in chat knows that it is like one of the strongest weapon, I feel like people on YouTube wouldn't know, right? That's what I mean by that. Man, that's cursed. Holy shit. Game's pretty dead today, guys. Alright, Cleve, take care, man. People on YouTube would only think it's good for PvE. Well, when we say people on YouTube, it's not like everyone. You know, there's always still part of the audience that understands the game, but... like, guys... I felt like so... I felt so vindicated. You know when I say that the YouTube audience is brain dead? Guys, you know, like, just recently, for those of you who watch the channel, I uploaded a vid about Sword Spear, Halberd with Strength Infusion. And basically the start of the vid was, this is how you farm engagement. You know, you use a weapon that's unoptimal on said build and you have everyone say that it's, you know, it's not the right build for the weapon. And then you had everyone in the comment section like jumping on it, but like everyone repeating the same joke. And I really felt this like Matrix moment where it felt like everyone was a fucking brain dead NPC. That's definitely what I feel like with the YouTube audience a lot of times. It's like, even though everyone is saying it ironically, it feels so brain dead to have people repeat the exact same thing. Like, it really does. Like, it's to a point where it's scary. Really feels like you're dealing with NPCs. Oh, wow. Careful about this guy. You have to be careful because the other guy's gonna chip us. Whoa, that's actually pretty clutch. The range, man. It was actually a pretty clutch kill, given the situation. YouTube is never getting any love. Glutty, you're the only mod I have, you know? I'm gonna give love to you. Like, the reason why you're my only mod on YouTube, it says something, alright? You're that ray of hope. You're not one of them. I forgot what I wanted to do here. Alright. Yo, Mongus, how you doing, bro? Like the last frame before the healing? Yeah, pretty much. Oh yeah, this is what I wanted to do. Wanted to recraft those. To the rare of hope, it's already over. Not everyone on YouTube is like that, guys. Like, come on. But let's, you know, let's be real here. Like, I never try to play games with you guys. You know, YouTube is the audience you are the audience. It's the platform that makes your channel grow. It's where like everyone watches everything. So it's normal that you get people that are like more casual in whatever discipline, subject, entertainment, you name it. It's just normal. But that doesn't mean I fucking hate everyone on YouTube. No, quite the opposite. Also, it's there that you grow the channel, and that, you know, it's not because someone is, let's say, ignorant about this game, which, to be honest, is not necessarily a bad thing, you know? Like, not knowing much about this game could arguably be a positive, you know? not knowing much about this game means that it's not taking a big part of your life, and it's probably a good thing. But with that being said, not because you don't know much about this game right now that you're not gonna learn a thing or two, or learn more about it, and eventually be very knowledgeable about it. Nothing's stopping you from being that guy. And maybe not about Elden Ring, but maybe about something else more constructive, who knows? The YouTube content is fun to look and see what you're messing around with. I mean, for sure, like, it's all entertainment at the end of the day, so... YouTube is definitely, like, the best platform to, you know, to showcase the content and everything. Like, as much as I like Twitch as a streaming platform, and I don't like YouTube as much for streaming. I do like YouTube for posting stuff. One thing that YouTube doesn't get enough credit for is, whether you want to admit it or not, the content that is promoted is usually the content that has, like, more value, interest, quality, like, you name it. Like, the YouTube algorithm usually does a pretty good job at sharing stuff that you actually want to see, and stuff that you might find interesting. And usually stuff that you might find interesting are videos that had some effort put into it. You know, maybe, like, let's say, aside from memes and stuff like that. And so it's a platform that does reward, like, the effort that you put in as a content creator, let's say. Whereas Twitch, on the other hand, is not that. It doesn't matter how much effort you put into your streams on Twitch. Your growth on Twitch is pretty much going to be dictated by another platform, or by another factor, like maybe you're popular on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, you name it. If you're popular on another platform, OnlyFans, as far as I know, I don't fucking know, but pretty sure that happens often too, right? But something like that. So Twitch, you're not really going to grow on Twitch, but I like the platform. Which is mostly going to be like a mirror reflection of your success on another platform. Also, Alluvial, thanks for the gifted sub to Mungus, man. Thanks a lot, bro. What's my favorite TikTok dance? Mungus, I've never opened TikTok in my entire life, and it's going to stay that way. You either? Let's go, bro. I knew we were brothers. Oh my god. I didn't expect him to fall off from that far. Holy shit. Oh. Was out of stam, could not dodge that. TikTok is for the brain rot generation. Man, there's a lot of people that I know that use it, and these are people that I like a lot and respect, but unfortunately it is definitely the case. Like, TikTok is designed for low attention span, grabbing your attention and basically distracting you as much as possible. Which, you know, entertainment is entertainment. I think everyone needs some entertainment in their life, no matter how you look at it. You can't always be optimal, focus, 110%, whatever, you name it. Like, entertainment and relaxing and doing something that's brain dead is also part of life, but I think we can all agree that we're at this point in time where maybe these social media are taking a little too much space in the grand scheme of things. They're not bad on their own, but they're taking too much space. For a lot of people, at least. Maybe you disagree with me, you know. If there's anyone that disagrees with that, I'd actually be very curious to hear the argument, like, genuinely. I'd be curious to hear, like, why do you think that social media is not taking too much space in people's life, and why, like, more social media is a good thing? Switching to a flip phone, bro. Can't be rotting anymore. Yo, Owen. How you doing, bro? Owen, that's the play, man. That is the play. Like, you cannot be distracted with a flip phone. Like, all you're getting, like, with a flip phone is, like, the bare minimum. Of course, Plant disagrees, you know? He was born to disagree with everything. He needs to be special. Everyone gives special treatment to Plant. Because he's that guy. Social media replaced social interaction? Man. I hope you're not right, honestly. But you're probably right. Crazy to think about. It's true though, like when I think about it, like a few years ago, like there was more like interactions in general. With strangers especially, right? Yeah, I think you're right. Who's the best Elden Ring player I fought? To be honest, I don't think the skill level is very high in this game. Yeah, we never played against each other. We co-opted once on underlevel, and you were just like roll-catching noobs for days. And you got one of them upset, and he wanted to play you over and over again. I remember that. Can tell you who's the best one I fought in Dark Souls 3, but... Oh my god. Bro, this guy is, This guy is the embodiment of fucking, shitnet. Guys, what is the play in a situation like that? Quite frankly, I don't actually know. Like, I want to say, like, dueling shield. I want to say dueling shield, but at the same time, the guy with the great sword. Actually, no, the guy with the great sword too. What's this net? Okay, this guy is actually the one with the better net of the two. Good thing is I can back up to the Scorpion, heal. They're not going to do anything. I think what we're going to do is we're going to play careful, smart. Take our time. Where's my hit? Like, he got hit, guys. Man, their net is actually so bad. It's like unplayably bad. I actually don't know what to use. I'm at lost, like, I don't know what to use against them. This guy is gonna grab me first chance he get, and the other one is so laggy that it's basically gonna be impossible to hit until I 1v1 and then I brain deadly trade. I think what we're gonna try to do is land one attack into Flame Strike. Or just... I got a perfect block, but it ate all my stam. Thank God. Okay. I can see a path to victory here. Especially if he DCs, that would be so good. Here we go, guys. The highest of IQ. No way we got steal! That's actually so funny. Bro, steal's also like... This guy's net's so bad that he has like a second of delay to steal as well. Like the guy has shit net to both of us. Oh! Yo, he's taking damage normally now. What the hell? Yo, what the fuck? Is he like switching? Yo, why is this so inconsistent, dude? That's crazy, dude. What the fuck? The dude was, I mean, either he was tempering with his net or it was like the biggest Wi-Fi moment I've ever seen. Like, that's crazy. Bro, that is some crazy Wi-Fi. Holy shit. This guy also lives in Poland? What does it have anything to do with it? Like, Europe has really good internet. You know, like, Korea, NA, Europe. Like, we all have fiber optic. It's the best that exists right now. This guy, though. Not all of Europe. Yeah, not all of Europe. That's true. Forgot what we were using. Oh, yeah, that's right. ESGS. Yeah, that was crazy. Some Korean net be clean as fuck. Shit's way better than Cali. So true, man. Yeah, I think Korea probably has the best net on Earth right now. I think the last time I checked, they did. Like, as far as infrastructures go. Like, you know, the average population has really, really good internet. America has outdated dogshit Comcast. I mean, it's always a little different from place to place, but I know, like, here in Quebec, we have we have developed over the recent years the fiber optic network. Like, the company Bell basically developed like the whole fiber optic network like throughout the province. I actually don't know if that's true for the rest of Canada, but I assume it's probably the case. Like, right now, you basically have 3 choices for internet. Like, where, you know, in Quebec, you have, like... Well, I mean, it's not the case everywhere, but for the most part, like, every major city and even, like, rural cities, like, they all have the choice between either completely outdated phone lines, which is DSL, outdated TV lines, which is cable, or they can use the fiber optic line, which obviously are a logical choice, because nothing better than fiber optic, really. Ooh! Dude, I actually got scared. We can't see our fucking bleed bar, but I bet it was super high. I think we did not get bled because we had full verdigris. Or not full, but if we had the bird helm, I think we probably would have gotten bled there. Soon you're gonna have 80 millisecond to Australia. Can't believe it. Project will be done in 2026. Is it because you're gonna have like a fiber optic line that's gonna go like kind of straight underwater? Is that what's going on? Is it going to be like a new infrastructure altogether? Like, let's say a like, is it going to cut the map, so to speak? Can you believe a playable connection to Australia? You're also enchant yourself. Well, to be fair though, you're closer to Australia than I am, I believe. Because you're on the south part of Africa, like the southest extremity. Whereas for me, I'm more up north, so Australia is very far for me. A dedicated line exclusive to you. Wait, what? What are you talking about? You started replaying Dark Souls 3 yesterday on an honest characters. There's still somehow fake dragons, RKSS Twink. That's crazy, dude. They never leave, but they still suck. Yep. Fighter PL is still making Dark Souls 3 troll content. Is that true? Fighter PL is still making Dark Souls 3 content? Is this real? That's crazy. Does he get any views? Now you're getting me so curious. I feel like that must be so dead. It's real? Holy shit, no way. Yeah, do people still watch it? That's crazy. Went back for seamless release and stayed? Wow. He said, I don't like Elden Ring. Stay on Dark Souls 3. Between 1k and 10k views per vid? What's his interval for uploads? Does he upload like every day, once a week, once a month? What's his interval? Actually, I could look it up afterward. I'm asking you old questions, but could just like look up his channel and find out. Every 2 to 3 days? That's pretty good for Dark Souls 3, actually. I wonder if it has something to do with the fact that the people who watch are mostly like casuals that will never touch the game. No idea. Very interesting, though. I'm definitely gonna check afterward to see what's up with that. The insane thing is people are still doing first runs on Dark Souls 3. I don't know if it's that insane considering most people started with Elden Ring, so it makes sense after a while. You know, Elden Ring's been out for a while. They've done everything in Elden Ring. They're looking for a similar experience. There's nothing out there that's similar to Souls games, so the next best thing, so to speak, is the next Souls game, which is the one that's right before Elden Ring, which is Dark Souls 3. And Dark Souls 3 doesn't really feel very dated compared to Elden Ring when it comes to like the graphics or the performance. They're really pretty much the same. The cable will have insane capacity. It's called Google Umoja. As a dark fiber user, you get dedicated connection with that cable. That's crazy that you get a dedicated connection. That's insane. I mean, I'm assuming that working at Cisco will definitely help out with that, right? That is crazy, though. Because of that insane capacity, mainstream ISPs won't use it. Wait, what? Why wouldn't they use it if it has so much capacity? I don't understand that part. Isn't that what ISPs sell on, right? They sell on capacity. As you know, like when they sell a package, they're like, yo, it's 1 gigabit up and down. Or actually, they don't even say up and down. They say 1 gigabit, or it's a 1 gigabit connection, or it's 500 megabyte, or it's 2 gigabytes. That's usually what they sell on. And then when you look at the fine print, it has like 30 meg of upload, 1,000 megabytes of fucking Download, 30 meg of upload, and then you're like, next. But jokes aside, right now I have I actually like got an upgrade to 1 gigabit up and down. So I mean, for me, like, I'm pretty happy with that connection. More users equal more strain on bandwidth. Yeah, but if you have such a large capacity, why wouldn't they use it? Less users, more capacity. I mean, you're the one who's getting me confused there, because to me, capacity is basically the volume that the cable allows for data to pass through, right? And so, as, let's say if I was in charge of running that infrastructure, logically, and correct me because I'm completely clueless on that, but logically I'd want to maximize the use of the infrastructure, right? Without having it lag or anything. But like underutilizing it would be a bad thing, just like overutilizing it would, no? Isn't that how it works? Like, you don't want to have like no users there, or just only a few users, unless someone is paying big money to have like exclusivity over that, and it's like a premium sort of service where like only the more fortunate have access to that. Remember, if every single user in a country used it, it would cause insane instability. Well, I mean, I don't know. Don't say remember. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't even know what's the capacity that can, like, hold it. You said it was very high capacity. Like, I don't know what kind of I don't know what high capacity, like, infers in that, you know, in that example. If you say it can't run a country, well, you say it can't run a country, it can't run a country. But the way you phrase it, it sounded almost like they were underutilizing it. As if it's only like a few people. Like, who is it that would benefit from it? $48 terabytes per fiber pair. Okay, so you're gonna have to help me there. What does fiber pair mean? I've never heard the term like fiber pair. I know what 48 terabytes is. Or terabyte per second, sorry, in your case. But what is fiber pair? Fiber from the fruit pear? You're so stupid. Talking about the fiber from the mango, eh? You want to get fiber from the mango plant? Is that what you want? Man, the game is so dead, guys. What, Mungus? The heresy. Mongos are nasty? You're crazy. Alright, guys. I think it's time. I've never banned Mungus, but all good things must come to an end. Bananas are worse. Holy shit, dude. Everyone hates Mungus now. Wait, I'm a mod. You can't contain me? You can't stop me! Guys, like, unironically, I think I'm gonna end the stream there, though, because we've been trying to invade for a while now, and there's, like, actually nothing. Pretty sad. we're gonna try another day. Hopefully there's more activity. Maybe it's because we're Monday. Could be it. You like blueberries because you're secretly a grizzly bear? Me too, Mungus. Me too. Alright, you're, you have your pardon now. Alright guys, well, I guess we're gonna do this another time. Unfortunately, it's pretty dead today. Did Nightreign kill Elden Ring? Maybe. I think Elden Ring killed itself. Alright, Firekeeper, thanks for all this info, man. It was actually an interesting discussion. Appreciate that. Alright, guys. Thanks, everyone, for coming by. Later, Owen. Thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate it. Vale, take it easy, bro. Mungus. I hate you. No, that's not true. I can't say that. That's just not true. Man. Alright, guys. I'll catch you guys up later. Later, Chirico. Let's see. Steel's probably playing. We saw him earlier. Let's see. Steel's probably on. Alright, let's raid Steel. Alright, take care, guys.